Picture a scene that almost nobody talks about. Jesus is standing in a small room. The air is thick with fragrance. Mary of Bethany has just broken open an alabaster jar of pure nard and poured it over his head and feet. The scent is overwhelming, intoxicating. And while the disciples are arguing about the cost, about the waste, about how this expensive oil could have been sold to feed the poor, Jesus says something that stops everyone cold. He tells them that Mary has done this to prepare his body for burial. But he says something else too, something that gets overlooked in every sermon you have ever heard. He says that wherever the gospel is preached in the whole world, what this woman has done will be remembered. Why would the anointing with oil be so critical that it deserves to be remembered alongside the resurrection itself? Because those oils were not just symbolic, they were not just ritual. They were doing something to Jesus' physical body at a molecular level, something that the ancient world understood but that modern religion has completely forgotten. If you feel drawn to this video right now, if something pulled you here at this exact moment, leave a comment with the words, "I want to understand," and make sure you subscribe because what you are about to learn has been hidden in plain sight for 2,000 years. The oils that were used to anoint Jesus were not random. They were not just whatever happened to be available at the market that day. Each oil was chosen for specific properties that affect human consciousness, human physiology, human energy in ways that science is only beginning to measure. Tonight, you are going to discover exactly what frankincense does to your pineal gland, what myrrh does to your nervous system, what spikenard does to your emotional body, and why the combination of these substances created a physiological state that allowed Jesus to do what he did. This is not religion. This is biology meeting spirituality. This is ancient wisdom that your body already knows how to respond to. Let me start with the oil that everyone has heard of but almost nobody understands: frankincense. When the wise men brought frankincense to the infant Jesus, they were not just bringing an expensive gift, they were bringing medicine. Frankincense comes from the resin of boswellia trees that grow in harsh desert climates. To produce this resin, the tree must be wounded. The bark is cut, and the tree bleeds a milky white sap that hardens into tears. These tears are what get burned as incense or distilled into oil. And here's what happens when frankincense enters your system. The primary active compound is called boswellic acid. Modern research has confirmed what ancient priests knew instinctively. Boswellic acid crosses the blood-brain barrier. Most substances cannot do this. Your brain is protected by a filtering system that keeps toxins out, but frankincense gets through. And once inside your brain, it does something remarkable. It reduces inflammation in the tissue surrounding your pineal gland. Your pineal gland is a small pine cone-shaped organ that sits in the geometric center of your brain. Ancient traditions called it the seat of the soul, the third eye, the gateway to higher consciousness. Modern science calls it the gland that produces melatonin and regulates your sleep cycles. But there is something else your pineal gland does that mainstream medicine barely acknowledges. It produces a compound called dimethyltryptamine. You know it as DMT. Your brain naturally produces the same molecule that shamans use to access altered states of consciousness. But for most people, the pineal gland is calcified. It is encrusted with fluoride from water, with calcium deposits from poor diet, with toxins from the environment. The gland still functions, but barely. It produces just enough melatonin to keep you on a day-night cycle, but not enough DMT to access expanded awareness. Frankincense decalcifies the pineal gland. When used consistently over time, the boswellic acid breaks down the mineral deposits. It reduces the inflammation that has been strangling this gland since childhood. And it allows the pineal to function the way it was designed to function. When Jesus was anointed with frankincense before his crucifixion, his pineal gland was operating at full capacity. He was producing natural DMT at levels that allowed him to perceive beyond the physical realm. This is not speculation. This is biochemistry. Take a breath right now, deep into your belly, hold it, and release completely. What I am about to tell you next will change the way you see everything. The second oil used in Jesus' anointing was myrrh. Like frankincense, myrrh comes from tree resin, but myrrh has a different purpose. Where frankincense opens the gateway of perception, myrrh protects the nervous system during the journey. Myrrh contains compounds called sesquiterpenes. These molecules are small enough to pass directly through your skin and into your bloodstream within seconds of application. Once in your blood, sesquiterpenes travel to your nervous system and do something that sounds impossible. They increase the amount of oxygen that reaches your brain tissue. Your brain uses 20% of your body's oxygen despite being only 2% of your body weight. When your brain is under stress, under fear, under trauma, oxygen delivery decreases. Blood vessels constrict. Neurons begin to fire erratically. You lose access to higher reasoning. You drop into survival mode. This is exactly what happens during extreme suffering, during crucifixion, during torture, during the moments when a normal human being would lose consciousness or lose sanity. But myrrh prevents this collapse. By increasing oxygenation, myrrh allows the brain to remain coherent even under unthinkable conditions. It keeps the prefrontal cortex online. It maintains the connection between the physical body and the conscious awareness inhabiting that body. There is another property of myrrh that ancient embalmers understood perfectly. Myrrh is one of the most powerful natural antimicrobials ever discovered. It kills bacteria, viruses, and fungi on contact. It prevents decay. When Jesus was anointed with myrrh before burial, his body was being preserved at a cellular level. The decay process that normally begins within hours of death was being delayed. And this matters more than you might think, because resurrection is not just a spiritual event, it is a physical event. For consciousness to return to a body, that body must still be viable. The tissues must still be capable of holding life. Myrrh made that possible, but there is a third oil that almost nobody talks about. The oil that Mary of Bethany used when she broke the alabaster jar. Spikenard, also called nard. This oil was more expensive than frankincense and myrrh combined. A single jar of pure spikenard could cost a year's wages for a working person. Why? Because spikenard only grows in one place on Earth, high in the Himalayan mountains at altitudes where almost nothing else survives. The plant has to be harvested by hand, and the oil has to be extracted through a painstaking process that yields only tiny amounts. But the rarity is not what made it valuable. The effect is what made it valuable. Spikenard works on the emotional body in ways that no other substance can replicate. When you apply spikenard to your skin, the molecules are absorbed and travel directly to your limbic system. Your limbic system is the part of your brain that processes emotion, memory, and trauma. Every painful experience you have ever had is stored here. Every loss, every betrayal, every moment of terror. These memories are not just mental. They are encoded in your nervous system as patterns of tension, patterns of reactivity, patterns that keep you locked in survival mode even when the danger has passed. Spikenard releases these patterns. It does not erase the memories, it changes your relationship to them. Users of spikenard consistently report the same experience. Old grief rises to the surface, not to torment them but to be released. Tears flow without effort, and after the tears there is space, clarity. A feeling of being lighter, cleaner, more present. When Mary anointed Jesus with spikenard, she was not just honoring him. She was preparing him emotionally for what was coming. She was giving him the capacity to endure unimaginable suffering without breaking, to experience betrayal, abandonment, torture, and death while remaining present, remaining conscious, remaining connected to the source. Now let me show you how these three oils work together, because the real power is not in using them separately. The real power is in the combination. Frankincense opens the pineal gland and expands perception. Myrrh protects the nervous system and maintains coherence. Spikenard clears the emotional body and creates space. When all three are present simultaneously, they create a state that ancient mystics called anointing. Not anointing as a ritual, anointing as a physiological condition where the human body becomes a clear channel for consciousness that is beyond the body. This is what Jesus experienced. And this is what was available to anyone who understood how to use these oils. But the church did not want you to know this. Think about it. If anointing is a biochemical process, then it is replicable. If these oils create expanded states of consciousness, then anyone with access to the oils can experience what Jesus experienced. You do not need a priest. You do not need a church. You do not need permission. You need frankincense, myrrh, and spikenard. You need to understand how they work. And you need to apply them correctly. The institutional church could not allow this knowledge to spread, so they turned anointing into a ceremony. They made it symbolic. They reserved it for special occasions performed by special people. They took a biological process and turned it into a religious monopoly. And for 2,000 years, that is where it stayed, until now. If you are still here, if you have made it this far, comment the words, reveal the method, not for the algorithm, but for yourself. Let your intention be known. Let the oils recognize you as someone who is ready. Let me tell you what happens when you use these oils the way Jesus was anointed. Within minutes of applying frankincense to your forehead, you will feel warmth spreading across your brow. This is not placebo. This is increased blood flow to your pineal gland. Your third eye is waking up. Some people report a tingling sensation. Others feel pressure, like something is pushing from the inside out. Both responses are normal. Both indicate activation. Within 10 minutes, your perception begins to shift. Colors become slightly more vivid. Sounds become slightly more distinct. You are not hallucinating. You are perceiving more of what is actually there because your pineal gland is producing compounds that expand your sensory range. When you apply myrrh to the base of your skull and down your spine, you are feeding your nervous system. You are giving it the oxygen and the protection it needs to handle higher frequencies of energy without burning out. Most people who try to force spiritual experiences without preparing their nervous system end up damaged. They have spontaneous awakenings that their body cannot integrate. They experience kundalini rises that feel like electrical shocks. They end up more fractured than before they started. Myrrh prevents this. It is the oil of safe passage. It allows you to expand without breaking. And when you apply spikenard over your heart, something will happen that you are not prepared for. Emotion will rise, not chaotic emotion, not overwhelming emotion, but true emotion, the grief you have been holding, the anger you have been suppressing, the love you have been afraid to feel. Spikenard does not create these emotions, it reveals them. It gives you permission to finally feel what has been locked in your chest for years. And once you feel it, once you let it move through you, it is gone, not buried. Not managed, gone. This is the preparation that Mary gave Jesus. This is the state he was in when he faced the crucifixion. Pineal gland wide open, nervous system protected, emotional body clear. He was not superhuman. He was fully human, operating with a physiology that had been optimized through the intelligent use of sacred oils. Now I need to tell you about the fourth oil. the one that almost nobody mentions because it is not in the anointing story. But it was used throughout Jesus' ministry, and it might be the most important one of all. Cedarwood. Cedarwood oil comes from the wood of cedar trees, the same trees that were used to build Solomon's temple, the same trees that are mentioned over 70 times in the Bible. The ancient world considered cedar to be the wood of eternity because it does not rot. You can submerge cedar in water for 1,000 years and it will not decay. You can bury it in soil and it will not break down. This resistance to decay is not just physical. When you use cedarwood oil on your body, it creates the same resistance in your cells. Cedarwood contains a compound called cedrol. Cedrol activates something in your DNA that scientists are just beginning to understand. Your cells have a built-in program that tells them when to die. It is called apoptosis. Healthy cells live for a certain period and then they self-destruct to make room for new cells. This is normal. But trauma, toxins, and stress can trigger early apoptosis. Your cells start dying before they should, you age faster, your energy drops, your body begins to decay while you are still alive. Cedrol slows this process. It does not make you immortal, but it extends the healthy life of your cells. It gives your body more time to repair, more time to regenerate, more time to do what it was designed to do. Jesus was not trying to live forever in a physical body, but he needed his body to last long enough to complete his mission. Cedarwood helped make that possible. There is something else cedarwood does that connects directly to the other oils. It grounds you. Frankincense expands your awareness. Spikenard opens your emotions. Myrrh protects your nervous system. But without grounding, all of that expansion can leave you unmoored, floating, disconnected from physical reality. Cedarwood brings you back into your body. It connects your expanded consciousness to your physical form. It allows you to be mystical and functional at the same time. This is critical. Spiritual experiences that do not integrate into your daily life are not transformation. They are just experiences. Cedarwood is the oil of integration. Now let me show you how to use all 4 oils together in the way that was hidden for 2,000 years. You will need pure essential oils, not fragrance oils, not diluted oils, pure therapeutic grade. The source matters because adulterated oils do not carry the same molecular structure. They smell similar, but they do not work. Find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed for at least 30 minutes. Turn off your phone, dim the lights. Sit or lie down in a position that you can hold comfortably. Take the frankincense oil and place 1 drop on your finger. Apply it to the center of your forehead right between your eyebrows. Use a gentle circular motion. As you apply it, speak these words aloud. I open the eye of my soul. This is not magic language. This is intention setting. You are telling your body what you are about to do. You are giving your pineal gland permission to activate. Take the myrrh oil and place 1 drop on your finger. Reach behind your head and apply it to the base of your skull where your spine meets your head. Then apply another drop to the back of your neck. As you do this, say these words. I protect the channel. You are preparing your nervous system. You are reinforcing the pathways that will carry the energy. Take the spikenard oil and place 1 drop over your heart. Use your palm to spread it across your chest. As you do this, say these words. I release what is not mine. You are giving permission for old pain to surface and leave. You are creating space for what is real. Take the cedarwood oil and place 1 drop on the bottom of each foot. If you cannot reach your feet, apply it to your lower belly. As you do this, say these words. I root into earth. You are grounding the experience. You are ensuring that whatever happens next will integrate into your physical life. Now sit in stillness. Do not try to meditate. Do not try to visualize. Do not try to make anything happen. Just breathe normally and notice what you notice. Within minutes, you will feel the oils working. Heat, tingling, pressure, emotion, all of this is normal. Stay present. Do not resist. Do not analyze. Just allow. What you are experiencing is the same state that Jesus accessed. The state where human physiology is optimized to receive and transmit higher consciousness. The state that the ancients called being anointed. You are not trying to become Jesus. You are activating the same biological potential that Jesus demonstrated. There is a warning I need to give you. Once you do this practice, you cannot go back to pretending. You cannot unsee what you are about to see. You cannot unfeel what you are about to feel. The oils will show you the truth of what you are, and that truth will not fit into the box that society has built for you. You will lose interest in things that once consumed you. You will feel alienated from people who are still asleep. You will be unable to tolerate environments that are toxic, even if those environments are familiar. This is not a problem. This is the process. You are being anointed. You are being set apart, not because you are better, but because you are different. You carry a frequency that the world is not designed to support, and the oils will make that frequency stronger. Let me tell you what happens after your first anointing. Within 24 hours, expect synchronicities. Expect people to contact you who have not reached out in years. Expect information to appear that you have been searching for. Expect doors to open and old doors to close. This is not coincidence. This is your frequency reorganizing your reality. Within 3 days, expect emotional releases. You might cry for no reason. You might feel anger rising. You might feel grief moving through you like a wave. Let it move. Do not try to control it. The oils are clearing your system. They are removing blockages that have been there for lifetimes. Within 1 week, expect your perception to stabilize at a new level. Things that used to bother you will not bother you anymore. People who used to drain you will not have access to you anymore. You will feel more present, more clear, more aligned with what is true. But here is the part that no one tells you. The anointing is not a one-time event. Jesus was not anointed once, he was anointed multiple times throughout his ministry. Every time he needed to access a higher level of consciousness, the oils were used. Every time he prepared for a major initiation, the oils were applied. This is a practice, not a pill. The oils work cumulatively. The more you use them, the more your body learns to respond. The first time you might feel a little warmth. The 10th time you might have a vision. The 100th time you might access states of consciousness that you did not know were possible. The ancient priests understood this. They did not anoint someone once and call them holy. They anointed consistently, systematically, as part of a training process that took years. Jesus spent 40 days in the wilderness. He spent years in mystery schools that history has forgotten. He was not born with supernatural abilities. He developed them through practices that included fasting, meditation, prayer, and anointing with oils. Everything he did you can do. That is not blasphemy, that is what he said. He told his followers that they would do greater works than he did. He was not talking about moral behavior. He was talking about accessing the same states of consciousness that he accessed, and the oils are one of the keys. Now I need to address something that will be in the comments. Someone will say that this is dangerous. Someone will say that you should not mess with these substances without supervision. Someone will warn you about opening doors that you cannot close. Let me be direct. Those warnings come from fear, and fear is the frequency of control. The people who want you afraid of your own power are the same people who benefit from your limitation. Yes, these oils are powerful. Yes, they will change you, but they will not harm you. Your body already produces the compounds that these oils activate. You already have a pineal gland. You already have a nervous system. You already have an emotional body. The oils do not add anything foreign. They optimize what is already there. The real danger is not using the oils. The real danger is living your entire life at half capacity, never accessing the consciousness that you were designed to experience, never becoming what you came here to become. Jesus was anointed because the work he was doing required a physiology that could handle it. You are being called to do work that requires the same thing. Not the same work, but work that is equally important. Your mission is not to save the world. Your mission is to become fully yourself, and the oils will help you do that. If you are ready to begin, comment the words, "I am ready to be anointed." Say it out loud if you can. Let your voice carry the intention. Let the oils hear you. Subscribe to this channel because what is coming next goes even deeper. The next video will reveal the frequencies that Jesus used in combination with these oils, the tones that amplify the effects, the sounds that open portals in your DNA. Like this video so it reaches other people who are searching for this information. The algorithm tries to suppress content like this because it threatens the systems that keep people asleep. Your engagement is not just support, it is spiritual warfare. Everything you have been taught about Jesus has been filtered through institutions that did not want you to have direct access to what he demonstrated. They gave you religion. He gave you biology. They gave you belief. He gave you practice. They gave you salvation through faith. He gave you transformation through knowledge. The oils are the knowledge, frankincense for the pineal gland, myrrh for the nervous system, spikenard for the emotional body, cedarwood for grounding and integration. 4 oils, 4 functions. One state of anointing that changes everything. Tonight, if you apply these oils the way I have shown you, you will feel what Jesus felt, not metaphorically, literally. Your pineal gland will activate, your nervous system will stabilize, your emotional body will clear, your consciousness will expand, and you will understand from direct experience why they tried so hard to hide this from you. The anointing was never meant to be rare, it was meant to be normal. It was meant to be how human beings operate when they are fully alive. You have been living at 10% capacity. The oils will show you what 100% feels like, and once you feel it, you will never settle for 10% again. 2,000 years ago, a woman broke open an alabaster jar and poured sacred oil over the man who would demonstrate what awakened humanity looks like. The disciples thought it was a waste. Jesus said it was preparation. Tonight you have the same oils, you have the same instructions, you have the same potential. The only question is whether you will use them. If this teaching has activated something in you, if you feel the call to be anointed, do not wait. The oils are calling you, your body is ready, your mission is waiting. Frankincense, myrrh, spikenard, cedarwood, these are not just plants, they are keys, and you have just learned how to turn them. Everything changes after the anointing, everything. Your life will never look the same. The people around you will sense the shift. They might not understand it, but they will feel it. Some will be drawn closer. Others will fall away. This is not rejection. This is frequency matching. You are being reorganized at a cellular level, and only those who vibrate at your new frequency can remain in your space. The oils do not just change your consciousness. They change your entire electromagnetic field. You become a beacon. You become a transmitter of frequencies that wake people up simply by being near them. This is why Jesus was so powerful. This is why crowds followed him. This is why the authorities were terrified of him. He was not just a teacher, he was a frequency. And that frequency is available to you right now. The anointing is not something that happens to you in the future. It is something that is available to you tonight, this moment, this breath. Do not wait for the perfect circumstances. Do not wait until you feel ready. Readiness comes through the practice, not before it. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. Even if you can only find one of the oils to begin with, begin. Your body will recognize the signal. Your pineal gland will wake up. Your nervous system will stabilize. And from that foundation, everything else will follow. The oils are calling you. Can you hear them? Subscribe now and activate the next level of your consciousness.